The losses keep piling up for the Blazers, but it doesn't matter because it's all about development. But really, how is that going? We're gonna check in here on the Blazer Focus podcast with Scoot Henderson. We're gonna check in on Kris Murray and some other guys who've been getting some action and find out what's going on with this young team as they keep getting blasted on a nightly basis. Hi, I'm Fentress of the Oregonian and Oregon Live, and I'm joined by Craig Birnbach as usual. Let's see. Last time we talked about Ayton and my interview with him. Where we talked about the air mattress. And the air mattress thing blew up. Everyone wanted to talk about the air mattress. DeAndre Ayton makes $34 million sleeping on an air mattress. What's going on? Like people took off
because it's crazy. Because it's crazy.
And I didn't even make a big deal out of it. It was just one of many different things he said was going on with him. But clearly, the air mattress is what caught everyone's eye.
Did I not pull it off? Did I not pull it out right away and tell you that was it?
Yeah, you were cracking up about it too when we did the podcast last week. But people were funny with that. Some people exaggerated, saying he said he wasn't playing well because of the air mattress. No, in part because his body wasn't right, and part of that had to do with the fact that he was sleeping on an air mattress. But anyway, it was kind of funny how that little things like that can just take off. But Ayton came back to earth the other night against the Clippers after setting a personal record of 6 straight games with 20 points or more. He only had 8. Of course, he didn't play in the fourth quarter against the Clippers. But the guy we're going to talk about mainly today is Scoot Henderson, right? We got to dive into this cat. I did my latest Scoot check the other day, and it was his worst one of the year. I think he shot 17% on threes. His overall shooting percentage was right around 41, which isn't horrible for him. But his defensive rating ballooned. His offensive rating plummeted. His points per game went down from 15 in the last check, I think, to 11. He's really been struggling. And it's crazy because he had a really good stretch. Then he got hurt, came back for 2 mediocre games, then got hurt again, and then came back, and it's just been all downhill since. What have you seen from the superstar rookie so far during this stretch?
Yeah, it hasn't looked good. That was I texted you during the Clippers game.
Right.
I was like, oof. Like that's what it felt like. Oof. Because it's not just that he's not shooting well, because I will give you tons of credit. Pre-draft, you said, look at this guy's numbers in the G League. He can't shoot, and people shouldn't expect him to be able to shoot. But he's not shooting. Like, he is wide open. He looks at it and he's like, nope. So he's feeling it, which is a problem, right? Because, dude, they're gonna lose anyway. Shoot, you know what I mean? Like, it's okay, but I get it. When you're shooting 12%, 15%, you don't think it's going in. You're always gonna try to win. What I haven't seen is the joy. Like, he is frustrated on the defensive end.
Yeah,
he's getting a lot of fouls called on him. He's talking to the refs, and they're fouls. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, you can't do that. You can't move your body in there like because you're late. Like, you've got to adjust faster. So we talked about not seeing the athleticism as much as we'd like, and that's still true. But I saw more joy and laughter and smiles with Scoot. You texted back like maybe he's hit the wall. Well, my thing is he's missed a chunk of time here, right? I know it's a lot of games, but he's missed a chunk of time. Like, he should have come back a little bit refreshed after being out for a few weeks.
In theory. But
he did. My theory's wrong, right? Because he's not.
But there's also the mental part of it, too. I asked Chauncey real quick. I asked Chauncey about this. He said, definitely, everyone has probably hit the wall, but especially a rookie point guard who has to deal with all of these things mentally. Like, he's just not a 2-guard running around waiting for the ball and then he shoots it or whatever. You have to know the offense, obviously, but when you're running a team, that's a mental burden that you have to deal with as a 19, 20-year-old rookie who's already played twice as many games. He played, actually, almost 2.5 times as many games he played last year in the G League. I think he only played 19 last year. And so that's a factor. And I'm not making excuses for him, but I'm just saying that, to me, the fact that he was playing a lot better, got hurt, came back, and he's been a lot worse, tells me that, the adductor injury plus maybe hitting the wall has impacted him. I feel like there's no other reason why he should have regressed this much. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. And Billups said himself too that he's definitely hit the wall, and mentally as well as physically.
And that makes sense. It makes sense. It's just a little bit worrisome to see other rookies doing better, and like his numbers are just, they're bad. Like he shoots 29%, from three, but he shoots 37% overall for the season. He's averaging 4.7 assists, but he's averaging 3 turnovers. And the points are 12.7, but really it's because he's having games like he did against the Clippers, which is a bad game. He did not play well, and he got 16 points because at the end, some of those were meaningless. But
right.
That's not a good 16 points. So, he's 20. So that's what we keep coming down to. But you can't sit here and say like, oh, it's been a good rookie year for Scoot Henderson so far. You just can't. No. I mean, there are times when he's so fast that he can go coast to coast, and that's where you see it. And, the athleticism is no doubt there. That's why he was drafted third. You look at his body. I mean, he's in great shape. I mean, he's NBA body ready. That's not a 20-year-old, physique.
He's NFL body ready.
Right. I'm just saying, like, this guy, it's not because he's not working, because his upper body is strong, his lower body is strong. So those are the things you sometimes look at and say, oh, when he grows into it, he's still, you look at Kris Murray and you look at Scoot. And if you just looked at bodies, you'd be like, oh, that's the 20-year-old. And you point to Kris Murray, who's not filled out yet. And, oh, that's Kris Murray would be the 20-year-old and Scoot's body would be the 23, 24-year-old. But so it's not that he's not physically able. It is a lot of either mental stuff. And when I say physically able, I mean, it's not because he's not in great shape. It's not because he's not strong enough. You mentioned that his shot looks okay. And I kind of said I didn't love it. I try to pay a little bit more attention to that. And I'm like, you're right. It's not all over the map. It just doesn't go in. It just doesn't go in. So, but that's the thing is like at this point, you would like to see more rather than less. And we're seeing less. And I don't like that he's not. Losing stinks, right? And he's never lost like this. You know what I mean? He doesn't. That's another adjustment. As when Scoot Henderson was playing up until now, just having Scoot Henderson meant that you wouldn't lose more games than you won. I know the G League,
Ignite
a little different, but he didn't have. He was only there briefly, and that thing was not a. There was. He didn't lose this many games, right? Because they didn't play. He didn't play that many games, so that's got to be tough too to not know how to rate your success. Like, okay, we won, but I didn't play in the fourth quarter. Like, am I excited? That's got to be hard. Like, since when is Scoot not? He's not used to not playing in fourth quarters when his team won. Just so much adjustment for a guy at 20 years old who didn't even play major college basketball to be where he is right now. But there's nobody can sit there and say, oh, it's been a great rookie year, right?
No, it's not. Many people across the country are calling him a bust, which is unfair. Real quick, crazy. Correct myself. Over the last 8 or 9 games, 37% from the field. And like you said, 37% for the season, 21% on threes, which obviously is not very good. And then on the season, like you said, 37 from 2, and overall, would you have him at 26, 29, 29% on the season. It's harsh to call him a bust. He's only 20. I went back and looked at De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox's rookie year, he shot 40%, I think, and 29 or 30% on threes. So it was similar to what Scoot's shooting. So that happens for young players. So, I wouldn't be too alarmed. But at the same time, there was so much hype put, around him and put so much weight put on his shoulders. I think that has something to do with the fact that maybe we're not seeing the joy because the season's winding down and he's not getting better. And that's got to be frustrating. When you come into a season to saying your goal is to be rookie of the year, even though Chet Holmgren's going to be a rookie and Wemby's going to be a rookie, you have high expectations for yourself. And he hasn't come close to meeting those. I would say, his demeanor, like Chauncey says, his demeanor has been pretty good still. I feel like he seems a little stressed, more so than usual. But then again, one day, not too long ago, me and a couple other people got into a conversation with him about In-N-Out, and it was kind of funny and spirited about how overrated In-N-Out was. And he was joking about it. And we talked about Five Guys. So like he had, he was in a good mood that day. But yeah, I think there's no doubt this is all wearing on him. And I think it's to me, it's a great learning experience, regardless of how bad it goes. He's going to have the entire summer to work on his game. I think we'll see a different Scoot next year. Will we see a superstar Scoot next year? Probably not. For him to become a superstar, it's going to take some time. But I think we'll see him improve down the line. Not giving up on the kid.
Absolutely not. I think also what's hard is that the Blazers right now, they're set up for him to play alongside Simons. And when they play together, there's problems. Simons is suffering because they're just like, well, we're not going to guard that dude. He can shoot all day. And they're just blanketing Simons. And, they're bum rushing him, and he's got to take shots that are even harder than the three-pointers that he's willing to take. So that's the other thing when I look at it. I'm like, we talked about over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Two small guards can't win. They already tried it with CJ and Dame, and those dudes won a lot. Those dudes can shoot. Yeah. They can both shoot, and they can both get to the rim, right? Differently. Scoot can get to the rim, but, he can't shoot. So, and Simons can get to the rim, and he's going. He's not more and more because he can't get his jumper, right? Because they're like, no way, we're not gonna let you shoot the three. Right. We know we're gonna probably win this game no matter what we do. But if we shut you down from three, we're gonna be up 15 pretty fast, and we could chill. So that's what we're gonna do. So he's getting to the rim and making shots, which is smart. But like that's my other worry is like, is this guy gonna ever shoot well enough to be alongside another small guard? No. The answer is no. Like I think it was.
You're saying,
we didn't think this was going to work anyway. But this guy's not going to turn into a knockdown shooter, and that's what CJ and Dame were, right? Two guys that you had to guard. And if you went two at Dame and he found CJ, he's going to kill you. And that said, I will admit that Scoot's not playing with a very good team right now. It's him and Simons at guards, and when you look at the rest of the team, you got Ayton every once in a while. Grant's been out. They're playing Kris Murray, which we're going to talk about. He's been better, but no one's worried about him. And then other guys have been cut or moved around by 2-3 teams, right? Like, or Walker shooting threes, so we don't know what it's going to look like. But I will say this, when you look at numbers, I would just say this, like Brandon Podziemski has been an amazing rookie with the Warriors, starting an active part of that team. And everyone is so high on him. I am too. I like watching him play. And I will say this, he's a really good defensive player for a rookie and a good defensive player while he was drafted. But his numbers aren't, he's averaging less points. You know what I mean? Like, that's why numbers are hard to look at. He's averaging like 9 points. He's averaging, less points a game than Scoot at 9.4. He's only shooting shooting 37% from three, which isn't great. It's better. And he's only shooting 40, almost 37.
Is good.
No, I know, but it's not like holy cow good. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he's averaging 9.4 a game. He's obviously way better right now. But when you look at overall numbers, 9.4, 3.9 assists. Now, the guy can rebound. He's almost at 6 rebounds a game. He's shooting 44% from the field. I'm just saying, like, with rookies, it's not always the stats that make people think, oh, whoa, we got something here. And that's where we are with Scoot. It's really not just the numbers. It's what we're seeing. And I think that's got why people are saying what they're saying. But calling a 20-year-old a bust is silly. It's silly because things change. But, people call busts like RJ Barrett. People call RJ Barrett a bust. I'm like, oh, yeah, guys who average 20 a game are busts. Like last time I checked, that's not a bust. It's not, what Zion does when he's healthy, obviously, who was, picked 1. It's not, what the guy picked 2 was doing while he was not suspended. So people love to use that bust. He's not a bust yet, but it's okay to worry. It's okay. It's fair.
It's fair. It's fair. It's fair. All right, let's move on to Kris Murray. He had a nice game the other night, 7 for 11 from the field for 17 points, 3 of 6 on threes, although he's 3 of 5 in the first quarter with 11 points. Didn't do much second, third, or fourth quarters. But this was the best shooting game, probably the best all-around game he's had for the season, shooting 41%, 27 on threes. Since February 4th, when he started getting some consistent minutes, he's shooting 44%, but 25% on threes. The last 10 games, 21% on threes, that was leading up to the 3 for 6. Chauncey Billups, he's said numerous times that Murray's got to be able to hit the 3 to really establish himself as a potential starter, because he does a lot of other things pretty well and has a potential to continue to improve as a defender, mid-range shooter, getting to the basket, contributing, rebounding-wise, making smart plays, et cetera, but he's got to be able to knock down the 3. So far, not so good, but, same thing with Scoot. But like we said, sometimes rookies struggle in that area. And at Iowa, he shot 35% on threes, which isn't great. Like that to me is not a guy you look at and say, this guy's going to be shooting 40 in the NBA, but it could happen. We'll see. But for me, he's an older rookie, right? He's not coming in at 19, 20. He's coming in at 22, 23. He has a lot of experience in college. He doesn't jump off the court. Like, he doesn't leap out as someone who's, he's marginally athletic. I agree with Chauncey that he's got to be able to hit the 3, and that's the case for most people, especially when you're marginally athletic and not, 7 foot. Even then, 7-footers got to be able to hit the 3 these days, right? But again, I'm not going to crush this guy at all. But so far, he has not shown at all that he's a future starter, like at all. And the fact that they called him a lottery pick, that seems like a huge reach, but he's a smart kid. He's a hard worker. And, we'll see how it develops, but he hasn't been hitting the 3 at all until that one game. And I think that one game was probably a fluke. We'll see what he does Friday night against the Clippers.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it back because I kind of, we dismissed him completely because he had barely played. And when he had played, he'd been not good. I will say this. His defense has been pretty good, like really good, and he's crashed. He's had some moments. Had very few moments of good threes, but they say, from the corner in practice, he's really good, and so you hope. What does scare me is when you say, he shot 35% in college as a 22-year-old. You know what I mean? Like, that's easier. So why do you think he's going to, if he shoots 35% in the NBA, that's not very good. And so why would you think he'd get better? And at that age, it doesn't often happen. It's not pretty. Now, of course, his twin brother's killing it. So you're like, well, just do that. You got the same body of DNA. Like, come on, just do that. I will just say that I have seen an NBA player at times, not a starter, definitely not a quote unquote lottery pick. Like, if you bring back this stuff Cronin said, like, no, you don't want to do that because they're silly. But this is the way to get people excited about the people that you have, because this is what you did. So you might as well say it. But, you hear about Rayon, is it rapport? Is that the right way to say it? It's rapport, right? Because to be the French.
Yeah.
That guy took a 3 in the game the other day. It hit so far up the backboard. like
be nice. You need to be nice. Be nice to these kids.
I know, but I'm just saying, that guy's not right. I've never seen a regular 3 be shot like that in the NBA in a long time, in regular minutes. So he is, and obviously he's not a shooter. He's got long arms. He's supposed to be a great defender, get to rim. But I'm just saying, these are the things that we've been hyped about, right? Oh, this guy's a second-round pick, but they got him, and he's really a first-round pick. That guy hit the he hit the top of the backboard on a 3. Like, no. Like, that guy is not ready. We're not talking about a year away or 2 from it being a star. Like, we're going to look at a miracle. And that's the part that we just don't know, like, where these guys are going to be. But at least I've seen more from Murray. He has not, and I don't want to say embarrassed himself. Obviously, he's in the NBA. He's really good. But he has not done things that made Chauncey say, oh, no, he can't start. Oh, no, he can't play significant minutes right now. And obviously, the bar is not set very high for where you got to, to get on the court with the Blazers right now. But there were times earlier in the year that guy looked completely, out of sync and not ready to be on the floor in the NBA. Everything you read and hear from the team is that guy does everything right in practice. You only have to tell him once. So I'm much more optimistic today than the last time we talked about Kris Murray. That's what I'll say, because I'm going half full. I'm going half full today. I'm much more optimistic that he's going to be an NBA player. But no, I haven't seen anything for him to be a star.
He's going to be an NBA player. So is Jabari Walker. But are they going to impact this team at a point that helps them get into the playoffs?
Hey, there's plenty of guys drafted 23rd in the NBA that are out of the league in 2 years.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean.
So I'm just saying, like, there's a chance.
Yeah, there's a chance. I think he's smart enough and crafty enough to have a roster spot for a while at least. My thing is, and I'm never going to waver on this. I don't care about the young development. I don't care about the G League. I don't care about any of that stuff. Show me some players that can help this team win. Period. And if I see a player that I think is going to help the team win, I'm not going to treat them like, I'm not going to talk about. I wrote about Kris Murray and his nice game because what else am I going to write about right now, right?
You got a job. You got a job.
I got to put something up on the website. So the guy does well, I'm going to put it up there. But yeah, I'm going to be harsh with how I judge this roster development, the putting together of trying to build around Scoot and Shaden and Ant and Ayton and all that kind of stuff. I need to see dudes who can ball, because you're looking at year 3 of the lottery. As of right now, do you feel like next year's a year 4 of a lottery season?
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Unless they do something amazing in the offseason, right? Which is going to be my first question to Cronin at the year-end interview. What's your goal? Are you going to try and go out and get some dudes so y'all can win? Or are you going to still just bring in a couple more rookies and keep with this youth movement with all these kids, that have no chance to contribute to winning next year? So,
my guess is youth movement.
Huh?
My guess is youth movement.
Well, then they're going to be in the lottery at least 2 more seasons.
I'm just saying why, because you don't even have one part right now really that to build around that I see. I mean, Simons is your best player. Your second best player.
Baby. If Dominating comes in next season, 25 and 15, if he does that.
He could be. But I'm just saying, like, right now, you build around Dominating on an 8-game stretch, some people in Phoenix are going to laugh.
Well, they have no choice but to make him a centerpiece right now.
Right, as part of it. But I'm just saying, like, that's not, you're not. And Jeremy Grant, like, you're going to probably trade him, right? I mean, because they don't match. He's 5 years too old. I'm just saying, like, Ant and Dominating are the same age.
Yep.
And he's 5 years older, right? So our windows aren't there. So I
want
just
to
think
see picks traded. I want to see Malcolm traded. I want to see some of these forwards traded. I want to see adults come in the room who can help this team win.
Yeah, I know that's what you want, because that's a lot more fun.
That's what Chauncey
you'd rather
wants
you'd rather have a team win 48 games, right, than lose 50, right? They're not going to win a championship,
60.
but at least you get to see some, games that you're like, oh, this is fun, and look at the crowd. That's awesome. They're cheering because they won, and oh, it's close. And you know what? I think they could win. That's fun. And you know what we had? You had that for a decade. My entire, the whole time that Damian Lillard was here, you had that. You might not win a championship, but other than the last, the last hurrahs here, they were good. So I just don't see there being enough to even deal to get that. I mean, because who would do that without taking the parts you need?
Well, okay, Malcolm's redundant. You have picks.
Yeah, but now you're not going to get I mean, good luck getting a 22-year-old player.
But if you just got a 28-year-old startable forward who's 6'8", you can play some D and hit a 3-pointer. Like, you just got a guy like that, you're infinitely better. They don't have a guy like this on the team.
Yeah, but you're not going to get that for Brogdon. You know how I know?
Brogdon in a
pick.
You
didn't.
Brogdon in a pick.
Okay, yeah, you start mixing.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
there's dudes out there on good teams that are adults. You're like Aaron Gordon is not a great player, but he's a really good player next to Jokic, right?
Oh,
you need guys of that kind.
He's a really, yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, he's a very, very good, because defense is important on good teams.
I'm just saying
he's really good at that.
A couple of guys of that caliber are obtainable in the NBA, as he was obtainable. From Orlando a few years ago. You add some guys like that. Had they done that for Dame, Dame would still be here. But you need to get guys like that, not count on, okay, we got Murray, Rupert, Jabari, Minaya,
all the same,
and Reef, and, Baji. 2 of these 6 guys are going to develop into that. No, I don't believe one of them is. So that's why it's just all. Now, this were baseball, and these guys were all playing single A and double A. It'd be cool. Oh, Kris Murray went 2 for 4 today in double A. That's great. But no, he's playing in the major leagues. He's not showing that he's going to be anytime soon a starting caliber forward that's going to help propel this team into the playoffs. So that's why I just sort of view all this as just like end of the season mess, and a bunch of guys who a couple of them are going to be replaced this offseason just from the draft alone. Because when they draft whoever they draft in the top 5, he's going to be a big of some form, either small forward to a power or to a center, power forward, somewhere in there. So guess what? He moves ahead of all those guys.
You hope.
Right?
You hope.
Initially, he has to. Otherwise, why'd you take him? Right?
Right.
So it's, Anyway.
All right. Well, speaking of that, let's go to the next thing. We keep every week we're doing tanking yet. So my question is, what's up with Brogdon, man? He was just supposed to be like, traded, and then he got a little elbow. He'll be back, and now like the season's like, is he done? Like, are they gonna play him? And Grant, a little tweak. Is he gonna come back? Sharp, have you heard anything about any of these 3 guys?
Okay, Sharp probably won't be able to come back. He had a surgery that pretty much, if everything goes right, he could be ready to play with a week or 2 to go to season, which would be 2 weeks.
Which makes
from now,
no sense
if everything was perfect. But then you need the run-up time. It makes no sense for him to play. I mean, if he comes back and plays the last 2 or 3 games, maybe that happens. I don't know. The Brogdon thing is shenanigans. Like, they tried to trade him to get players. They didn't want picks. They keep him, and boom, he has tendonitis. So he didn't magically just get. No, he did magically, I think, kind of get tendonitis. Because I think had they been able to trade him to a contender, the tendonitis wouldn't be a thing he'd be playing. But here, they're not trying to win, and they want more minutes for Scoot. So maybe you don't want Brogdon to play, or maybe Brogdon doesn't want to play. I honestly have not dug into it. I probably should at this point. I kind of gave them the benefit of the doubt at first. But, based on how this team has done things this last couple of years, as far as I'm concerned, they don't want him playing, because if he gets hurt,
can't trade him.
Then he's got no trade value in the offseason. You're trying to lose anyway. He probably doesn't want to play anymore. Why would he? It makes no sense. So, that's where I think that is. If this team were winning in the playoff hunt, Brogdon would be playing. If you're on another team, Brogdon would be playing. So, to me, this is he got an elbow. Grant's been like, the thing about Grant that's been weird is that he hasn't been listed out until
questionable
the game. He's questionable or doubtful. So they're messing around with his status as if he could come back, but then he never does. Right? So
yes,
that's why
I bring it up.
I kind of feel like he definitely hurt his hamstring, but that there's no rush to get him back.
Yeah.
Right. And they have a road trip coming up, a 15-day, 7-game road trip that they're going to start, I think, Monday after they get blasted by Denver on Saturday. Do you bring him back on that trip? I mean, maybe, or do you just say, why? We're getting minutes for Murray and Rupert.
You're paying them a lot of money.
Hey, they sat down $150 million like last season.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, they did.
Their tweet for their injury list last year needed two tweets. That's how long the injury list was. And hardly any of those guys were really hurt. So my hunch right now is that if we don't see Grant in the next week, he's done. He's done. You're not going to bring him back for the last, 6 games of the season. Again, why? Play the youngsters, right? I'm waiting now. See, I'm waiting now. Any minute, I'm predicting it's going to happen in about a week when Ayton has something.
Yeah.
Easy
with big
to that
men.
point.
Sore knee. They set it up early too.
Hey,
sore knee.
Sore knee. Tendonitis.
When you got the Blazers history, I got no problem sitting bigs if there's nothing to play for.
Oh yeah, I have no problem. Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with sitting anybody at this point. I mean, you can get 4.
It just becomes hard to watch.
Sorry.
So that's my final question.
Record. Yeah.
What are you looking for? Like
the finish line? The finish line.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. This is a joke to cover.
Because, Fentress usually beats around the bush, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's not.
No,
he usually just soft tosses everything.
I'm not saying the franchise is a joke. They're rebuilding. And I respect rebuild. Like, they made a move to go off Dame. You're rebuilding. This is what happens when you do this. So I'm not saying the franchise is a joke. I'm not saying the coaches are a joke and what they're doing. I'm not saying the players who are out there busting their ass. And they're dude, the other night they were getting blasted with Chicago. And they came back and took the lead. Like, those guys are playing hard. There's no reason for them to battle back like they did from 16 down to take the lead. And they lost it, right?
Yep.
The Clippers game, it got away from them in the third quarter. But even then, they were down. They got it back. They were down 16 in the second
and lost by 13.
Right, no, but they were down 16, then they got it back to 8.
Yeah. Early
in the third, and then things fell apart. But there's really no quit. And so the players, they're not a joke. What I'm saying is that the just the totality of everything when you're playing completely meaningless, worthless games and you're not playing lineups to have a chance to win, it's really, really difficult to try and pretend you're covering something, right? The only thing of interest really right now to cover, Ayton had a little bit of a burst. That was nice.
Nice.
And then Scoot and Sharp playing together, right, would be interesting. But instead, we got no Sharp and we got Scoot, and he's really struggling. And so I'm not going to write, I don't want to write every day, Scoot struggling. Yeah. I don't want to pile on the kid. So there's really not, much to go off of at this point. It's just, let's just get it over with.
Yeah.
Let's just get this game. And I don't care what sets they're running. I don't care, the defenses they're switching to and they're doing this and doing that, because nothing they're doing right now is going to matter come next season. It's just not. So it's difficult. And the crowds are thinning out. Now, I give it to, the crowds are thinning out, but the fans who are there, they're into it, man. They're enthusiastic.
Still good, man.
They're enthusiastic.
I'm always surprised.
Yeah, it's hey.
You guys are awesome.
Diehards are diehards, man.
You just cut a 16-point lead to 8, and you guys are up and acting like, nah, here we go.
Here we go. We're coming back, baby.
I love it.
Oh, they just
and when I got here, the Blazers, when I first started covering in 2007, they weren't good yet, but they were, Roy and, obviously Odin didn't work, but LaMarcus, but they weren't good yet. And I was just like, this is an amazing crowd. These crowds are great. But they saw it right around the corner. You know what I mean? So I was like, I get why they're like this. And they just finished going through adjusting from the Jailblazers, right? And it was this refresh. I got here right on time.
See, if we had some more cats getting arrested, then I'd have something interesting to cover, right? You know what I'm saying?
Fentress said that. I just want to make sure. I want to make it clear that was Fentress.
That would be much more interesting than all these goody two shoes getting blasted every night. Nah, I'm just kidding.
Let me say, I could see why the fans. They're turning the corner. Like right now, they're not. They have not. There's very little light at the end of the tunnel that you could see. I'm not saying it's not there, but you're not like, all we need is these guys to get 2 more years, right? Like Brandon Roy was Rookie of the Year. You're like, woohoo! Right. Like this is great. And he's getting better, and he's not 19 or 20 either. And and LaMarcus, the jump from year 1 to year 2, and it's just looking good. And you still have Martell with the hope of the upside. And it just right now, you're right. I asked you that question because I'm watching these games because you make me, and I want to be informed. And I care, I care. I want the Blazers to be good. I want my son to see a championship, unlike me, who's still waiting for the Knicks or the Blazers, like anything that I'm close to in the NBA to win. But yeah, I'm still gonna. I am interested in how I am interested in Chauncey a little bit, because I'm just curious about how he's doing. Like, I don't know how you evaluate him as a coach, but like I feel for him every time. Like when you get introduced on radio, they say your record.
Are they saying his record on radio?
Oh yeah, Travis. I often on my way home, I'll catch the beginning of a 5 o'clock game on the radio, right? And I'm like, ooh. And he's not unaware. He's a huge competitor. He's not unaware that his record is not good. Yes. And at some point, like, how long until I get to a place where we are there? Like, does he realistically think he's going to make it 6 years where, and then they start turning the corner? Like, that's not something that happens often in the NBA.
Doesn't.
You know what I mean? Like
what he's been forced to do,
yeah,
burns you out.
Yes, exhausting.
It burns you out. I mean, there's no way he didn't come to Portland thinking they were going to be rebuilding. He thought, I have Dame and CJ. Who knows what happened with CJ? I mean, O'Shea wasn't going to trade CJ anytime soon. I mean, there was some discussion here and there, but he passed up on anything with Ben Simmons, smartly. But Chauncey's thinking at the very least, we're a 47, 48 win team, and then maybe we can get some moves and get better. Instead, it all falls to pieces because of injuries, and then they start to rebuild, and he's stuck now without Dame, trying to raise a 19-year-old. He thought he was inheriting a top 75 player, which he did, and now he's got a 19-year-old who's now 20, and then another 20-year-old, and now he's got a center who the team like. It's
that's my question.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, if he has to go do this again next year, I'd almost say extend me. Okay, let's say it's me. Extend me or fire me.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because you got a contract and you can't. It's not that easy to just get out and jump to another team. But I mean, this is a guy who can do broadcasting. This is a guy who can work in the front office. People talking about him as a GM without even any experience. And obviously, he got a head coaching job after 1 year of assistant coaching. And it's not like the Blazers were the only team interested in having Chauncey be a head coach. He is so highly respected around the league. You could see how much players from the other team love him. Like there's so much respect there. There's so much you can do. It's got to be exhausting on a guy who doesn't like to lose. Like this is a guy who won an NBA championship. This is a guy that wants to win. And at some point you're like, where is that? He absolutely did not sign up for tank, trade Dame, tank. Like that was not why he was like, I'm taking the Blazer job. Right.
Right.
So I just wonder, and I have no insight on him of where. I just think about history of people and history in the NBA. He's got to be thinking like, so once we get good, like who's going to be here? Are we going to have a new owner? Are we going to have the same GM? Like, why would they want, like, how am I going to make it to that point where I'm in the parade, down Burnside? Like where's the math?
How often in NBA history has a coach, an unestablished coach, coached a team from the complete ground floor all the way up into contention and winning? Now, the Oklahoma City coach, Popovich took over when they got Duncan to go with Robinson.
Right, but yeah, true. So but they stunk. Stunk.
No, they didn't. They stunk because Robinson got hurt.
Right.
They had the best record. Hold on, it's one of the biggest pet peeves about the Popovich legend.
Yeah,
they had the best record in the NBA. Lost in the West Finals, right? Then the next year, David Robinson had the back, I think it was. They had the 7th worst record or something like that, and won the lottery and got Duncan.
And that's when he took over.
And then you added Duncan to a team that had contended with Robinson, right? And then Popovich got rid of Hill and made himself the head coach because he got Duncan and Robinson. And he wins a championship. He's a genius. So now he did a great job getting Parker and Ginobili, right? Kawhi. Right, he's done a good job, but
really good.
But your starting point was Duncan and Robinson. Now, without that, he's working on his 5th straight losing season. So it doesn't happen often lately that people start from the ground up. Like Mark Jackson, he started from the ground up with the Warriors, got him to the playoffs, bam.
Yeah, but he did some
coach. He started from the ground up, and now we're here.
He did some.
So it does.
Mark
happen.
Jackson did some stuff. Mark Jackson.
Maybe
did some stuff.
I'm just saying.
He made some bad decisions.
So if there are a few years from
let me tell you, when the FBI is involved, it's not good. It's not good. It's not good.
So if they're a few years still away from being a legit, not playing, but a legit strong 48-win playoff team, that means Chauncey would be in year 6. And that means he would have missed the playoffs 5 years and been in the lottery at least 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Does he stick around?
Now,
for me, I would love to see if he raises Scoot and Sharp and/or Ant and helps bring in the other guys and builds it, helps make it happen, then he should stay here and see the fruits of his labor. It just hardly ever happens. So
and also, like, why when you have other options, like how much time do you want to put into this if you don't know, right? Like,
right. How much time do you want to be the king of the daycare
and being and get criticized
and he gets ripped for it. He's not developing.
People are like, it's crazy on the social media to see blaming Chauncey.
Oh, it's stupid.
I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, are you like what are you looking at? Like, he doesn't play this guy, or I'm like, what? He's played everyone. He's played them all. Like he's tried everything. And I have no idea. Is he a good coach? I have no idea. I know players like him. That's half the battle. Like, I know players praise him, so that's good. And I know that everybody thought, not everyone, but so much positive talk about Chauncey Billups and his basketball mind, and we know what he did on the floor. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I just don't know. And if I'm him, I want to prove it. And you can't, you can't. And you cannot tell me it doesn't bother him that his record is one of the worst records in NBA history.
No, make no mistake. It absolutely bothers him. He's bothered by the entire thing. He wanted more help last year. He wanted Dan to stay, and he wanted him to trade the pick and trade Ant if you had to, and bring in some dudes he can win with. Desperately wanted that. And it just didn't happen. So then he told Joe, pick a lane. We got to pick a lane. And so they picked the lane. And that means a lot of losing. So now he's developing. But how long is it going to take for it to work? And the fact that Scoot is coming in low is not good. And Sharp wasn't even that great this year. Sharp didn't make a huge leap. His shooting percentages are not good. I mean, even before he got hurt, his shooting percentages were not good. Go look him up. Like, he wasn't playing all that well. So if those two are slow on the come, then how long is this going to take? Where are you going to find these players? Like, let's say a team out there with some veterans lost their coach for whatever reason and came calling for Chauncey. I think he would leave.
That's what I'm saying. Or even,
ask
he's
out.
79-1. He's 79 at 154.
Yeah.
He's 79 at 154, and it's only going to get worse. His winning percentage.
In those 230 games, he's probably had a legitimate NBA roster for 70 of them.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it's not a real record. but in the end,
I'd say 90 of them.
In 10 years, no one's going to know. Remember that. You know what I mean? Like, or, back, you look back and he's going to have to win to get to 500.
So here's what's fascinating. Joe Mazzulla. Okay. Assistant coach in Boston.
Yep.
MA has the scandal. They
no,
make this guy head coach. His record is 112-39.
Yeah, they're awesome.
He's amazing. He's amazing. Wait, is he amazing?
I don't know.
Or did he inherit a contender?
He doesn't
that
suck.
Been to the finals.
He doesn't suck.
And has probably the best duo in the league.
Right.
So if Mazzulla was coaching the Blazers, would he have them in the playoffs?
It might be worse.
If Chauncey was coaching Boston, would he have them in the playoffs? Yes.
Yeah, I'd have him in the playoffs.
Right.
I'd have him in the playoffs.
So
I'd run motion all day. 2-3 zone, that's it. That's all I got. And I'd be in the playoffs.
So sometimes it's just random luck. What situation you're in. I bet Chauncey wishes he would have been an assistant in Boston. that he'd be coaching the Celtics.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many. He has options, so it's going to be interesting to see how it feels.
Or if he'd have been in position to take the Milwaukee job, you think he would have done that? You think? And Dane would have welcomed it over Griffin in a heartbeat. But Griffin inherits that. That doesn't work well, and they go bring in Doc. But Chauncey could have coached that. So that's the thing about it. It's like,
no,
that's
like you're saying all the things is why
it's hard to know.
Why it's kind of fascinating, because I do not know. Nothing would surprise me. Like if he's back next year because he wants to be good. If he said, "That's it, I'm out. Can we part ways?" And I'd be shocked that they fired him, because they're going to cost money. He doesn't deserve to be fired, and ownership doesn't feel like that's what they want to do, is spend more money. So I would be shocked if it's an extension.
This is 100%. This is 100% me, and I coached Banks' 5th grade basketball team 30 years ago to the title.
Nice.
We were good. We ran real plays, and the 10-year-olds loved it. So anyway, that's my basketball coaching experience. I'm not trying to pretend like I'm coming at this with some grand vision. But if I'm Chauncey and I have to come back and continue with this rebuild with 1 year left and then a team option, I'm gonna be like, wait a minute, I'm gonna go out there and lose another 50 games, right? To continue developing with no assurances that I'm coming back to finish this. So I'd almost be like, extend me.
Makes sense.
Right? Extend me, which shows a commitment. Okay, we're in this together. So, okay, I'm going to grind. I'm going to get my ass kicked again next year, but we're going to bring in some vets and hopefully be a little bit better. And then hopefully this blossoms soon, right? But if I'm a lame duck and I got to go suffer, like I might be like, yeah, I'm good. Let's mutually part ways. Because you're making me a lame duck, which means you're not buying into me. So go get someone you're bought into. And then I can just either sit out a year and try and get another job, or maybe I can get another job somewhere else, or just reevaluate my life knowing that I'm not going to lose another 55 games next year. So for me,
go work some TV, make some money.
Go work some TV and wait. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'd rather do that if I have no...
That's why it's interesting to me.
Get my butt kicked and not come back. Anyway. All right, so Blazers got Clippers tonight, Denver on Saturday, and then they are on the road for 7. I will be watching every one of those games on TV and bringing you all the important coverage from this continuation of the development of the youngsters on the Trailblazers. That's it for the Blazer Focus podcast. I'm Aaron Fentress. He's Craig Birnbach. Click that subscribe button and give us a positive rating, and we'll be back shortly.